I'm getting old. It's weird to think about. It feels like not very long ago I was in high school or college, but I've been working for what feels like a long time now. Time's a funny thing. Honestly, it's not something that I've thought much about before. Not because it never came to mind, but I think that it's something I've been actively avoiding. In September of 2023, Frieren's first episode aired. A fantasy show that only really starts after the defeat of the Demon King. In a sense, the journey's over before it actually began. We never get to see the group fight the Demon King, but we do get to see what comes after, and that's the celebrations. The cheers of admirations from citizens and soldiers alike, the long nights of partying, proof that this was a world-shattering event for everybody. Soon after, Frieren decides to leave on a solo journey, but before that, the group agrees to meet up to view a comet shower years later. Her journey begins, and in the blink of an eye, as we watch the leaves fall, winters come and go, flowers bloom, before we know it, it's time to meet up for the meteor shower. Basically, no time has passed at all for Frieren. In fact, she hasn't aged at all. It's like she's one of us, simply viewing it from the outside. But when we see the group next, well, that's a much different story. With the end of episode 1, about 70 years have passed since that long night of celebration. Very few from that point are even still alive. We got to see the crowds roaring in the streets, celebrating, crying. It's all distant memory now, though. There are a few points where Frieren comes across statues of the heroes' party later on. One sticks out to me in particular, though. It's one where the statue looks like it's ready to fall apart, and it's overgrown with vegetation. Flashes of that celebration come back to my mind, but I remembered time marches on. The heroes who saved the world are slowly being forgotten. So, what hope will I ever have to be remembered? Sometimes I think about my grandfather. He's a big figure in my life. He's a man who was awarded the Purple Heart for pulling somebody out of a burning tank. He's a hero. Even though he died when I was pretty young, I remember being very much devastated. But you know what they say, time heals all wounds. Except not really. It erases them. Not just the wounds, but the remedies. It erases the memories of time spent together. The laughs, the crying, the sounds of their voice, what they look like, and worst of all, the person themselves. Horror is pretty subjective. Some people are afraid of the monster under your bed, others the dark, or spiders, drowning, the IRS, the list goes on. But how do you deal with those things? Are you afraid of monsters? Well, have your parents check under the bed. The dark? Here's a nightlight. Spiders? Raid works wonders. The list of fears and solutions stretch on to near infinitum, but only one does not have a solution. Infinity itself. Time. At most, if you're lucky, you only come to accept it as time erases everything. Frieren's a show about someone with nearly infinite time. It's a show that tries to portray a message, one that you need to spend time with those you love. Don't waste it. Recognize what you have, because once it's gone, you might never be able to get it back. You won't be able to get it back. But for those of us who don't make the most of our time, the horrifying reminder of what's to come. 255 ticks, or 4 minutes and 15 seconds. That's when this video ends. The clock doesn't stop, but when I do, that's how long you'll have been listening for. That's how much time you'll never get back.